Hello everyone, my name is Qarlene and today we are going to be studying science. What is science? Science is an understanding of the natural and social world following systematic methods that are based on evidence. This means that when scientists and researchers form theories about science and its topics, it's based on facts. So whatever they prove in the name of science is based on things that are real, not stuff that is made up. Because science is such a diverse subject today, we are only going to be focusing on one topic: states of matter. What is matter? Matter is simply everything around us. Matter can be a confusing word because it has several meanings, and we often hear phrases like, "What's the matter?" or "It doesn't matter." Scientists, however, have a different meaning for matter, as matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. There are three main states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas, and we are going to take a closer look at the properties of each. This diagram represents the particles inside of solid matter, liquid matter, and gas matter. The particles in the solid matter are rigid, fixed shape, and fixed volume. The red particles represent solids that cannot be squashed, as they cannot change their shape according to any given time. The liquid particles, which are in blue, are not rigid and have no fixed shape. However, they do have a fixed volume depending on what containers or shapes of containers that they are placed into. They also cannot be squashed. The gas particles, however, are not rigid and have no fixed shape and no fixed volume. The gas particles can be squashed. The difference between solid, liquid, and gas particles is that solid particles are not allowed to move. As we can see, they are very close together and they are very rigid and tight in space and tight in shape, so they can only vibrate slightly. The liquid particles have more space around them, allowing them to have more room to glide over one another, but at not a very high speed. The gas particles, however, are free to move at any speed they like, and they can vibrate and move as quickly as they want because there is no space to control them. These are examples of solid, liquid, and gas matter that is around us every day. Examples of solids are wood, stone, and car, and examples of liquids are river, coffee, water in a bucket, even juice that we drink. And examples of gas can be those in a cylinder, in a pump, and even fire. There are changing states of matter, and we can change any substance from a solid to a liquid or a gas, or back again, just by changing the pressure and or temperature that surrounds the object at that time. From solid to liquid to gas, from gas to liquid to solid, and so on. This diagram shows Pushin Cat in many different forms, and he's on a bike here, which represents the solid state of matter. He's in a cup here that represents the liquid state of matter, and he's being carried by balloons, which represent the gas state of matter. Now, if we want to change a solid to a liquid, it will be through the process of melting. If we want to change a liquid to a gas, it will be through the process of evaporation. In the same way, if we want to change a gas to a liquid, it will be through the process of condensation. And if we want to change a liquid back to a solid, it will be through the process of freezing. Now, melting is the process of turning solid to liquid. Melting is when a solid turns into a liquid when the temperature around it is increased above boiling point, which is over 100 degrees Celsius. When we take out an ice cube, for example, from a freezer, that process is called melting, as this is when solid particles turn into liquid particles. However, if we want to change liquid particles into solid particles, this process is called freezing. And this is where liquid turns into solid when its temperature is lowered below freezing point, which is below 0 degrees Celsius. For example, when a tray of ice cubes is frozen, this process is referred to as freezing. This is when liquid particles are turned solid. Evaporation is when we want to turn liquid particles into gas. So this is when water changes into gas or vapor. And for example, when we boil a pot of water and there's steam that rises from the top of it, that is the process of evaporation. This is when liquid particles change to form a gas or vapor. Condensation is the process that changes gas back into liquid. And condensation occurs when warm air rises, when it cools, and when it loses the capacity to hold water vapor. As a result, the excess water vapor condenses to form droplets. Can be seen when we take a hot shower and there are droplets in the mirror, or on a cold glass of water and there are droplets outside when the ice melts. That is called the process of condensation. This is when gas particles change to form a liquid. So let's recap. Matter is anything that occupies space and has mass. There are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And here again, the diagram shows us the differences between solid particles, liquid particles, and gas particles. Solid particles are rigid, they do not move and only vibrate slightly. They are fixed in shape, fixed in volume, and they cannot be squashed. Liquid particles, however, are not rigid and have the ability to move around slightly. They are not fixed in shape, however, they are fixed in volume and they cannot be squashed as well. Gas particles, on the other hand, are not rigid. They have no fixed shape, no fixed volume, and no way to constrict their movement, and they can be squashed. You can change any substance from a solid to a liquid to a gas and back again just by changing its pressure and or temperature. There are four stages of the change called melting, freezing, evaporation, and condensation. All changes in states of matter surround us on a daily basis. So let's take the ice cube example again, where if we want to melt an ice cube, we would take it out from the freezer, and this is when solid particles are changed into liquid particles. If we want to freeze the same water that was melted, we would have to put it back in the freezer, and this is when liquid particles change to form solid particles. Evaporation is when we boil water, for example, and there's steam rising from the top. That is the process of evaporation. Condensation happens when gas particles change into liquid particles. So after we take a shower and we see droplets on the mirror, or if we have a cold glass of water and we see droplets on the outside, that is the process of condensation. Thank you so much for listening, and I really hope you learned something about the states of matter today. Please do click the link in the description box down below to download the slides if you need them for your own personal reference. There will also be quiz links down below to test yourself to see if you remember what we learned today. Thank you. Bye.